Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Raj here, and today we are going to be covering iOS 14 Developer Beta 3. So, without further ado, let's go into the... Excuse that notification, I'm sorry about that. Let me fix that actually real quick. Let's just put on Do Not Disturb, that way it doesn't come up again. But we are going to be delving into settings, and we are going to take a look at the update. So as you guys can see on screen in just a second, there it is. So as you guys can see, there's iOS 14. I know it says public, but again, I got it from a different source. That's the only reason it says public. And it's beta 3, of course. So then it comes in at 668.4 megabytes. So I just have to download and install it, and we are going to just wait for me to enter my passcode, because you guys obviously are not going to see that on screen. Alright, it is now entered, and we are just waiting on it now, and whoops, looks like that accidentally activated. So now we are just waiting on this to download, and it should not take that long. But while it does download, I am going to explain a few things to you guys. So I'm going to kind of go a little bit out of, like, what it does. So actually, like, what I normally do. So instead of actually just cutting the video, I'm just going to have it, like, continuously play. So basically, what's new in this beta is actually a ton of things. There is, for one, there is a new icon for Apple Music, and there is plenty of other nice stuff to actually look forward to as well, which I will also tell you about once this is, of course, done installing, because I don't want to spoil too much. So I'll show you guys everything and all of that once it comes up. But one thing I did want to mention that's a bit noteworthy is the, at least before it installs, is, let's see here if I can find it. I have to probably keep scrolling down. So right now, as you can see, there is like no edit button or whatever on the widgets. But if I press and hold on one of these widgets here, which I should be able to do, actually wait, I probably have to do it on here actually. Yeah, sorry this is going to be glitching out and stuff like that. There we go. Now I'm in jiggle mode. So I click edit, and then I have all of these nice widgets here. So basically, let's see here. Do we have the widget here to look at screen time? It doesn't look like we do, which is kind of weird, because we should have that widget there. It looks like it's just glitched out, so let me just try turning off the phone and turning it back on. Yeah, looks like that was just a small glitch. Let's see here. But in terms of actual, like, usability, the overall OS is pretty usable. The only, like, thing I'm really noticing by far is the fact that the widgets on this at least might be slightly, like, not working super duper well. But I'm pretty sure, actually, in time that will be fixed over the upcoming betas. And if we look here, actually, we should have, yep, there it is, screen time. So let's see here. If we add this widget, let's just add this real quick. Let's see, we can just add that panel like right to here. And let's click done. So as you can see here, we have the weather, and it looks like it doesn't want to show up for whatever reason. So again, let's turn off the phone, let's turn it back on, unlock it. And as you can see here, it looks like it is not displaying any screen time, but I'm sure you guys did see this there, and the actual image, like if you look at the actual things, now I know you guys can see this on screen, but I'm also going to show you on my face cam here to give you guys an idea, but you can see that it's a bit blurry, and the reason why is because this is a 480p image, so for whatever reason it is bugged in beta 2, so Apple addressed and fixed that in developer beta 3. So that is one notable change there, and if I go to the feedback app here, I can go over a few more changes. So let's take a look at the iOS/iPadOS updates. And also, as you can see here, 3D Touch, also, according to this, is not available in beta 3. So, like, let's say if you have anything back to the iPhone 6, so iPhone 6, or not, sorry, not iPhone 6, iPhone 6S, iPhone 7, iPhone 8, 8 Plus, or the iPhone 10, if you have any 5 of those phones, 3D Touch is not going to be available in Beta 3, temporarily. So, as you can see there, it says temporarily unavailable in iOS 14 Developer Beta 3. So, what it means by that is that basically, for Beta 3, you're going to have to get used to using haptic touch. So, basically, if you don't know what haptic touch is, it is essentially this. So, you hover over a menu with your finger here, and it kind of just like pops up like that, like 3D Touch does. So instead of applying pressure like this to the screen, like with 3D Touch, which is a little bit faster, you have to press, hold, and wait. So there is a little bit of a process to it, but I'd say in terms of speed-wise, using it on everyday use, it's about the same, really, in terms of speed. There might be like a second or two of a difference where 3D Touch is a little bit faster because it's hardware-enabled, but other than that, it's about the same. Has about the same functionality. But yeah, while we are waiting on this to actually install, I'm going to show you guys what else is new here. And now that command, I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to highlight it on the screen instead so you guys can see it. But now that's recognized while sound recognition is enabled. So I'm guessing what that means is that, like, say if you're playing a YouTube video or something like that, that essentially it is going to recognize that command, which I'm going to test that out. Hopefully it works. Once, obviously, this is done installing, I will test that out for you guys to make sure that it works. I hope it doesn't activate on my MacBook by accident, but if it does, well... But I'm sure it won't, because my iPad and my MacBook are currently recording me right now. iPad for Facecam, MacBook for, whatever's going on screen. The only device that is not recording, of course, is the iPhone. And also my Apple Watch. But most of the time I don't use the Siri command on there anyway, so it's probably not even going to register. Because I'd have to actually have it around this distance from me in order to actually even have it register and have my phone away from me. But anyway, moving on. So now voiceovers, voiceover users can now interact with the home screen after returning from the app library. So a little bit of nice changes there. And voiceover users can now answer incoming calls with a new banner display style. So of course you guys know what that looks like, the new call bar on the top. Now people that are using voiceover, so say you're disabled and you obviously, for whatever reason, you obviously don't have hands, or you can't interact with your device physically, then what you can do is that you can sell it. What am I saying? You can tell it voice commands basically to get you wherever you need to go. So say if you're wanting to answer a call, you can give it a voice command in Beta 3, or if you're wanting to go back to the home screen. And if, say, for example, you're in the app library, like I'm displaying on screen, you can go back to the home screen by just giving it, sort of feedback, or, giving it a command via your voice. So that's another cool little nifty feature as well for those types of people, or just for people who want to use their phones with their voice. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And then audio, there is a few known issues with Beta 3, so CH Haptic Engine, whatever that is, it's a framework. You guys probably don't care about that stuff. There's Core Media, Core ML, Device Check, Exposure Notifications. It's not available in iOS 14 at the moment. That's for the whole, virus going on. I'm not going to say the name of it because I don't want this video to get any hate or whatever. I honestly just don't want it to become a topic of discussion in this video because that's not what it's about. So with home screen, at least now for this, the known issues are the app library section headers aren't positioned as expected in right to left languages, so there is a bit of an issue there. And Spotlight might not appear as expected. So in terms of Spotlight, actually, I did want to touch on this a bit. So in Beta 2 so far, what I have noticed as of today with Beta 2, because I am still on Beta 2, of course, that basically when I tried to launch Spotlight search like this, I'm sure you guys see this on screen right now, it hesitates. It goes on this screen for whatever reason, and I'm just not even sure why it does this. I'm guessing it's just a bug or something like that, but who knows. At least, though, I can still get back to the home screen by just swiping up from the bottom. So, if you guys are also having that issue as well on Beta 2 or Beta 3, please comment it down below in the video description. And also, report it to Apple as well if you're also having that issue. Go into the feedback app and just report it to Apple. That way they know like how to fix it and that sort of stuff, or like what they are fixing rather. So make sure you report it to Apple. That is your best bet in like basically assuring that they know what's going on with the software and what they need to fix. And in terms of localization, certain languages might exhibit clipped or misaligned layouts, and then certain languages might display unlocalized text. So you guys, again, probably don't care about that stuff, but, you know, it's there. So location services might be unavailable. The workaround is to go into to turn location services off and then back on in settings. Then you go to privacy and then you go to location services. So if you care about location services, then that is the workaround in beta 3 in case location services is not available. And then resolved in beta 3, of course, is in Swift. Now, whatever framework that is now correctly exposed as a property. So again, you probably don't care about that stuff. And then yeah, that's just more about Swift. So that's more for developers. I'm just kind of going like to you guys like from a general use perspective, so not so much a developer. But if you guys did want to pause the video and read this stuff, you're most welcome to, of course, if you are a developer. But I'm just not going to go over that in the sake of saving time, and also just because the general audience does not care about that stuff nor interact with that stuff. So but let's see here. So mail, known issues. Mark blocked sender might be unexpectedly disabled after updating it to iOS or iPadOS beta 3. The workaround to that is to turn on mark blocked sender in settings, mail, blocked sender options. And moving on to maps. After updating to iOS and iPadOS 14 beta 2 or later, new users such as user data such as favorites, collections, and recents no longer syncs with devices running earlier versions of iOS and iPadOS. So that's something that you also have to keep in mind. So that's just something that's also being put out there. And in messages. So iMessage app icons are now hidden when switching to the keyboard to the emoji keyboard. So that is a known issue that was fixed, which is great. And then resolved in iOS and iPadOS 14 beta 3, the volume control now works with the EU volume limit, so then now that's active, so that's great. And in networking, so this was resolved obviously in beta 3, so HTTP/3 draft 29 is now supported, so that's great. And then some issues and notes that were resolved, or known issues actually, so they were not resolved, what am I saying? The pen tools might activate unexpectedly while typing with a Bluetooth keyboard, so that is a bit of an issue that I'm sure they will fix in the next beta. And moving on to phone and FaceTime. Control Center indicates phone is using the microphone for calls placed over the cellular networks, but indicates system, I forgot the quotes, for calls placed over Wi-Fi networks. So that is one known issue there. Another one is after using FaceTime with picture-in-picture mode, your video might unexpectedly pause. The workaround to that is to turn the camera off and on again, which I have found myself to be a bit of an issue, so it looks like Apple has still unfortunately not fixed that just yet, and I'm sure they will in the coming betas. But yes, I have noticed that issue with myself, at least with my own phone on a day-to-day usage. When I do FaceTime friends, that does happen. So hopefully Apple fixes it. I'm sure they will soon. And now in photos. Resolved issues where image search is now supported in Simulator. So that's great, if you guys know what Simulator even is. Reality Kit, we don't need to go into that. That's developer stuff. So again, for those developers that are watching, feel free to pause the video if you want to look at this stuff. I'm personally not going to go through this because I don't see a reason to, as the general audience, again, does not care about this stuff. Nor does it affect them in any way. So settings, basically stuff that was resolved in the settings app is the allow apps to request track preferences in settings. So then you'd have to go to settings, privacy, tracking, no longer unexpectedly becomes re-enabled after being disabled. So they fixed that issue as well. And then the learn more link in settings, privacy, tracking is now available. And then shortcuts, known issues, automations might not run if they're scheduled immediately one after another. So that's a bit of a issue there. And in shortcuts, in terms of iOS 14, it's been running great, honestly. So I've not even seen any issues in that whatsoever. And I'll give you guys a bit of a test after this in shortcuts too. I mean, I'm going to do all the usual tests. So Siri, basically now with it being beta 3, what was resolved is triggering an automation when closing an app is now available. And Siri now recognizes shortcuts. So that's great. Built-in developer-provided actions that contain text array parameters no longer produce an unexpected error, so that's good news for developers. Some known issues are, however, searching for timer and tapping a suggestion to start a timer doesn't start a timer as expected. So that's another bug Apple has to fix. So in terms of software updates, known issues, your device might restart but isn't updated to like iOS or iPadOS 14 beta. The workaround is try removing content to free up additional storage to update your device using your computer. Speaking of which, I actually want to go over another point, at least in this software. So if I go to general here and if I go to iPhone storage, I know you guys are going to say, oh, Raj, you've almost used all 256 gigs of your phone. I'm aware of that. And if you look actually under the other section, it is using 44.26 gigabytes. That's a lot. That is a lot. So hopefully Beta 3 fixes that. I've heard that it fixes it for some and it doesn't fix it for others. So it's kind of a mixed result there, but I sure hope that fixes that because that's a lot of other storage. And it has definitely increased since Beta 1. So hopefully it fixes that. But let's see. So Swift UI, you guys are not going to want to see that. That's for developers. Again, third-party apps. Developers, translate, this is important, so this is something you guys want to see. On-device mode is now supported. So before there was a bit of an issue with on-device mode for the translate app built into iOS, introduced in iOS 14, of course, developer beta 1. And then the vision, depreciations, there's just, stuff like that, more code, more stuff for developers. So now if you go to the watch here, your medical ID now appears as expected in the Apple Watch app. So that is great news. Widgets. So in terms of the widgets, what was resolved is the frame, whatever that is, basically. That's for all developers there for the first two things, and then this is one thing that you guys will understand. Stacks no longer unexpectedly becomes available. I just cannot speak today. After tapping edit widget for a large widget, the animation is now correct. When a device is locked, widgets on the lock screen now have the correct appearance. Widgets no longer appear unresponsive, which is great. Additionally, the weather widget no longer appears blank, so that's good to see there. And personally for me, I've had very minimal to no issues with the weather widget, so let's hope it continues that way. Known issues, however, the quick actions menu might unexpectedly appear behind the widget overlay. Workaround is to just reboot your phone or device. Some widgets might disappear from your home screen after updating to iOS and iPadOS Beta 2 or later. I have actually had that issue happen to me before with the Stocks widget, which you guys, if you wanted to go check that out, that last developer beta video I did on Beta 2, you guys can see that, yes, I clearly had that issue. And it's just as simple as re-adding it back, really. It's not that big of a deal. It's just this minor annoyance. So font size currently doesn't adjust automatically for different device sizes. Widgets aren't blocked for screen time when their parent app is blocked. Let's see. Widget kit, that's again for developers. You can't resize an existing widget. That's a known issue. The workaround to that is remove the widget and re-add it in the desired area. So for whatever reason, yeah, there's no way to resize it. The conditions displayed in the weather widget might not match the conditions displayed in the weather app. So again, a bit of data inconsistencies there. That's for developers. When indicating a significant change in temperature for the next day, the weather widget might not display temperatures or might display temperatures in Celsius instead of Fahrenheit. So for us people in the US, that's going to be an annoyance. And additionally now, at least finally for this section, you might need to reconfigure your widgets after updating to iOS and iPadOS 14 Beta 3. So there is going to be a little bit of an annoyance with widgets. Accessibility. So this was resolved in Beta 2. You can now activate Siri or trigger accessibility shortcut using full keyboard access. Non-hearing aid devices no longer unexpectedly appear in hearing device settings. Let's see. The App Store, new features in Beta 2. This is basically just for developers, ARKit developers, audio. Again, for developers, calendar. Now, this actually is for the everyday person. So this was resolved in Beta 2. Custom reoccurring events can now be created, which is great. That is a new thing in Beta 2, not Beta 3. And most of this stuff, honestly, is Beta 2, so I'm probably just going to gloss over all of this, because, I mean, we already had Beta 2, so, yeah. Most of this is just Beta 2, honestly. I'm just seeing a bunch of Beta 2 here. So I'm just going to continuously scroll through this, because, again, we already had Beta 2. You guys don't need to see this again. I probably didn't go over this in Beta 2, but yeah, all of this was put in Beta 2, and then that's all Beta 1, of course. Okay, so that is everything, I believe. So now let's check on the status of the update here. Not the About page. Oops. Okay, looks like it is still preparing the update, so it is going to take just a bit longer. But while it's doing its job, I did want to tell you guys a few things, and that is that I have slightly big plans for the channel, not really. I'm actually going to be getting out a lot more videos for you guys, or at least trying to, just because really at this point summer is coming to an end, and at least coming to an end fast. And honestly, we just right now have no idea of like how the next school year is gonna look, because next school year I'm gonna be a junior, so that's gonna be fun in high school. So yeah, it's gonna be a nightmare for most of us, at least, because we're going to have to learn online most likely, and we're gonna have to go to in-person classes too. Now, if you're asking me, this is my opinion on all of it. I would love to learn in person, and let me explain why. Because learning online, I mean, for me, honestly, it's like for me specifically. Now, this might not apply to you, or you might not agree with this, but for me, it's just not effective. I just don't see online learning as a very effective alternative way to teach kids. Now, that's just me. That's coming from my perspective. But obviously, you guys out there have different opinions, so I will respect them. But basically, yeah, for me, honestly, yeah, I just cannot learn online. It's just me. I love to learn in person, because you can actually ask questions there a lot easier, and you can just basically learn a lot easier. It's just a lot simpler to do it in person, because here's my philosophy on it. Even being this tech guru, I just don't believe that technology is ever going to get us to the point where, like, it's going to be as effective as at least learning, like, in person. And even if it does, it's a very, very long time away. So, really, honestly, anytime soon, it's not going to get to the point where it will teach kids the same amount of stuff that they would be taught in a physical classroom. That's why, honestly, for me at least, if I was given the choice, I would go back to physical learning, knowing the risks. Now, of course, I would wear a mask and stuff like that, and you should too, with the current situation going on, at least for the foreseeable future. But, yeah, honestly, that's what we have to deal with. So, that is honestly all I wanted to say. So hopefully this hurries up, and I won't have to make this video any longer. And actually, you know what? Just to save some time, I might actually decide to cut the video here, just so that it doesn't become over half an hour. So I will see you guys once this is done, of course, installing. Alright guys, we are now back in iOS 14 Developer Beta 3. So let's just unlock the phone here, as it just restarted. And here we are. So in terms of the widget stack, it seems like we have everything here. Yeah, everything's right here. Sweet. let's see, let's edit the stack. Actually, you know what? Let's add some more widgets here. Why not? So as you can see here, we get a new prompt here, edit home screens, hide unorganized home pages by tapping the page dots. So it gives us a new prompt there, which is pretty cool. And then now, this is one of the new widgets here, the clock widget. So we can delve into this. And these are the different sizes, of course. So let's add this widget to our stack. Perfect. Now let's say we wanted to, oh, by the way, there's the new music icon as well. And let's say we wanted to add a screen time widget to our stack here. Let's add that widget as well. Let's add that to our stack. Perfect. Now we can hit done there. But we just swiped over here, so as you can see here, there is refreshed widgets. So you can press and hold on a widget to reorganize them in jiggle mode. Tap the plus, the top left to add a widget. So that is how those work there. And these are just, suggestions. So there's two things there. There's a nice stack there. I'm actually going to edit this a bit. So I am going to put the calendar widget here up above this stack. So I'm going to just put this stack just below here, because that is more convenient for me. And here we have the news, we have stocks, and now as you can see there, for the screen time widget, it has changed. So now it's no longer that 480p image what you guys saw earlier. Now it's a proper widget. And as you can see here now, we have these older widgets, because these apps have not been updated quite yet. And as you can see here at the bottom, we have this edit panel. So that will put all of these other widgets in jiggle mode. And as you can see here, we have this customize button. So, and we basically have all the rest of these widgets here for like other apps. Like, let's say if you wanted to add those onto there, I am personally not going to do that because I do not need them. So let's just click done there. Then there's our spotlight search that finally decided to come back. We can get out of that. Okay. Now, if we scroll back to the top, I keep on activating Spotlight Search. Whoops. So overall, the OS, I will say, it is feeling a little bit more fluid / responsive, so that's good to see there. And the weather widget here, it seems like it's stuck on a black screen, so might just still be trying to update. Let's launch the weather app real quick. So as you can see there, launches just fine. So yeah. Weather widget's a bit broken at the moment, but as you can see here, in terms of the clock widget, what's new here is the fact that, as you can see, the 3 times there, those are daylight, whereas Paris, of course, right now, that is night, because it is nighttime there. So that is a pretty cool detail there. And then you have to obviously set up screen time here in settings. So looks like it's already set up, so that's just a bug most likely. That should fix itself over time. Then there's the battery percentages, my notes, Siri shortcuts, which by the way, let's test that now. Works just fine, so that's good. Let's see if repeats work. Repeats are working, which is fantastic. You can also hear that little vibration. That's just confirmation. All right, then tap it once more and it terminates. So good, shortcuts work, and it works flawlessly. The only thing that's not working is the weather widget, which is a bit annoying, but it is what it is. Oh, and I accidentally closed out of that, but that was just the app library. I was introducing to that. So let's see here. Let's launch some benchmarks. Let's go to Geekbench. Oops. What am I doing? Okay, Geekbench 5. Let's run a CPU benchmark. And here we are just going to let it run its course. It should be pretty comparable to last beta score, most likely. But also keep this in mind that my phone's battery, it's definitely not at 100%. So that's another thing to be aware of. It shows that it has full Wi-Fi and cellular signal and full battery, but it definitely does not. It's only because it's plugged in, and it's plugged into my computer. That's how you guys are seeing it. It's not a wireless connection. But anyways, though, it is just flying through this test, surprisingly. So that's great to see there. It seems like performance-wise on the iPhone 10, it actually maybe even sped it up. So that's good to see there. Oh, and actually, while that is running its course in the background there, I'm going to just go into the battery health. That's not good. Yeesh. Your battery health is significantly degraded. Oh no. Well. So it looks like it did drop to 79%. And it's saying it needs to be serviced. Fun. Well, I wonder if this is a bug or if my phone's battery actually needs to be serviced. I mean, if it needs to be serviced, I might need to actually get it serviced. So, oh, ouch. So, I guess I'm gonna have to schedule that. Darn. It's already been, though, like 2, almost 3 years now, so I guess that's understandable. I mean, batteries don't last forever, so... I mean, it still has 79% of its original capacity, but, you know, it's not going to last as long anymore, so... Because it did decide to degrade another percentage, so... But see, the good news is, though, is that it is, however, going to be improving. So even if, like, let's say I do get a new battery, the phone's going to run like brand new, which is great. So I'm probably going to get a new battery soon. Because now apparently my phone needs a new battery. So I'm going to have to get a new battery. And I'm probably just going to take it to Apple. But that's unfortunate. Did not expect that. But as you can see here, it is just finishing up the test, or at least it's not finishing up yet, but it's at about almost 3 minutes, which is not terrible, but it can be a little bit better, I would say. But again, this all has to do with the battery, so. Looks like it just hit 3 minutes, and we are almost about 2/3 of the way finished in terms of the test. So I am definitely noticing, though, that it is definitely going a little bit faster than it used to. I mean, it used to take around like 5 minutes, if you guys can recall. If you actually go back to the video, at least for beta 2, I believe, is when it actually took the longest at around 5 minutes. So that performance, obviously, this is going to vary. These are just benchmarks, by the way, so this is not indicative of real, like, day-to-day usage. But really, honestly, that took about 5 minutes to run all the tests, and in terms of benchmarks, that's terrible. So, let's hope that it actually improved here, which, from the looks of it, it looks like it did, which is good. But we'll obviously have to see the end result once it is finished. So, I'm gonna say that this is probably going to take somewhere in the ballpark of like 4 minutes and probably 50 seconds maximum. 4 minutes, 50 seconds. I think that's a safe bet, but then again, it can still take longer because it still does have a pretty huge gap in terms of its completion here. But once this is done, I'm going to run an Antutu test, and then that will be the end of the video. I feel like I've covered pretty much everything I need to. But actually, before I run the Antutu test, I'm going to show you guys the new Apple... I'm going to show you the new Apple Music icon. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. I don't know why. But it seems like here, yeah, I am going to be roughly in the ballpark of about 5 minutes, almost. Not exactly 5 minutes. It might be spot on in terms of what I said, in terms of it being 4 minutes and 50 seconds. It's probably going to be, yeah, it'll be slightly over, maybe 4 minutes, 55 seconds. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to be over that, too. Okay, well, I guess it's going to take in the ballpark of 5 minutes. So, I mean, not really an improvement there, but, you know, it is what it is, honestly. So, I mean, it's probably an improvement from last time, but again, we'll have to compare the scores and we'll have to see that, so we will have to see what happens. Looks like we are closing in at around 5 minutes and 30 seconds. That is not great. That's not great at all. But that is a shocker, though, that actually says that my battery needs to be serviced, and it's at 79%. Well, I guess all iPhone 10 batteries die at some point. So it looks like we got a single-core score of 517 and a multi-core score of 1030. Yeesh. Not great. Okay. It is definitely better, though, than our last one. Because last time we got this score of 426 single-core and 895 multi-core. And this time we got 517 single-core and 1030 multi-core. So it's definitely better, but not considerably. But see, the thing that did shock me, though, again, is the fact that the battery thing here says that it needs to be serviced. So, yeah, a bit awkward, but, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense at this point that the battery needs to be serviced. So, let's see. I'm just going to take a look at this for a second. Yeah, so it seems like I need to bring it in for repair. Alright, well, that's probably going to cost me about $70 out of pocket, so fun. I wonder if I even have $70 in cash. I probably do, but even if I don't, I have some money to do it, so I'm going to do it. Because right now I don't have enough money to buy myself the new iPhone, so I'm saving up for that. If I decide to get it. But, however, that is that there, and I am actually going to now stop actually distracting myself, and as you can see here, that is the new Apple Music icon. So it looks pretty nice. It's a nice red gradient, and to most that have been an Apple fan, I guess you could say, for a very long time, you may say, yeah, Raj, that looks like the icon from iOS 7 or iOS 8. Well, actually, it's not. It's a different gradient. So it's a similar color, but it's not also the same color either. It's a different shade of red. So basically, it's completely a new icon. So it looks similar, but it's not. If that makes sense. And it looks like the weather widget is still not working. So again, that's probably just a temporary bug that can be supplemented with me just, restarting my phone or even just turning it off. So I'm going to probably do that later, and I'm going to see actually if this battery service thing also is some sort of fluke, because it might just be the fact that I have to restart my phone. But actually also, before I do the other thing, I am going to go to, not the about settings, to iPhone storage. And it seems like I was correct in saying that this did clear up a lot of that other space, because yeah, I'm not seeing it anymore, which is great. So it seems like it cleared up those 44 gigabytes that were being used, which is fantastic. Yeah, there's nothing in other, and there's only about 8.41 gigabytes in system. So it cleared up all of the other storage. Fun. So, anyways, now, let's, what was I going to do? Right, I was going to go to our tests here. Let's go to Antutu. And we are just waiting for it to launch. Okay, this is just an ad, of course, for TikTok. Get out of here, TikTok ad. Okay, let's see here. So, let's test this again, because it left off from where we were last time in terms of the beta video. And if you missed that video, please be sure to go check it out. But as you can see here, it is just running us through the graphics test. It seems like it's running pretty smooth, which is good to see. Let's get rid of that notification. Sorry you guys have to see that. Alright. And you know what? Actually, after this video, I'm probably going to see when an Apple Store is available, because yeah, I need to get my battery replaced pronto. So I'm definitely going to check that. Because, yeah, I'm not going to be living with this old battery for much longer, and it is going to be getting replaced. So that is the great news. And I'm sure Apple is going to seal the phone back up fine as well, so that it retains its water resistance. Alright, that actually wasn't bad. I didn't notice any lag. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you noticed any lag, because to my eye, I didn't see any lag there, which is great. That's great to see. Alright, looks like it is now performing the next graphics test, Coastline, and it's, of course, a metal test, because Apple uses metal for their graphics engine. So we just have to wait for that to load. Looks like this one's a little bit choppy at first. Yeah, seems like it's just still a little bit choppy. I'm sure this one is actually a little bit more of an intensive test. That's most likely why it was choppy there at first. Yeah, now it's perfectly fine. Now it's rendered everything out, so that's good news. And this rendering is pretty quick, so. Alright, that is the second test completed for the graphics. Or almost completed, at least. The back of the phone is actually pretty hot, too. Like, if I touch the back of this thing, yeah, it's pretty hot. Oh, here comes the very intensive test. Terracotta. This one is what really puts the phone's CPU in full gear. So, let's see what the A11 is made out of. It's made out of quite a lot still. I mean, it's still a decent processor. But, yeah, I mean, the newer chips, honestly, they're a whole lot better in terms of running this kind of stuff. And you know what? This actually seems like it's performing a little bit better than it was in Beta 2. And I say a little bit just because it is still dropping quite a lot of frames, but it's not doing, like, considerably as worse as Beta 2 did. Because this is Beta 3, so it's definitely still choppy, that is for sure, but it's not doing as bad, which is great. It is still not performing as well, though, as most of the newer iPhones do, and newer devices, of course. But again, this is just benchmarks. This is not indicative of real performance. So in terms of gaming, the iPhone X is still solid. I mean, if you're playing games like Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG, Fortnite, it's still going to run well. Now, for this, however, this is a very intensive test in terms of actually rendering graphics and stuff like that. So you can see the bit of a difference there. Now it just has to render out all of the scenery. So this shouldn't take super long, and I am so sorry this video is super long. I did not mean for it to get this long, but again, I also want to be as informative as possible for you guys, so that's why it's this long. But, yeah, looks like it's just finishing this up here. Perfect. Now it's just going to please wait. Alright, now it's just processing the fisheye, which this should actually be, yeah, one of the last tests. There we go. GPU is finished. Now it's just testing the RAM, it's testing the speed, and it's going to test the performance next. And then it will finally test the CPU, or the processor, in other words, and then it will test the UX. So it just needs to test the storage. Looks like it's already about halfway done, so that's not bad. It's definitely, I think, going a little bit faster than it did in Beta 2. So that's good to see there, actually. Now it's just testing the ROM, or the random read. It's testing database. Let's get rid of that notification. Alright, it's done with the memory. Now it's testing the CPU. Alright, looks like it's testing the gem operation, whatever that is. Map operation, and then it should be testing CPU performance. Now it's decoding PNGs, alright. 2D physics engine, multi-threading. That actually went pretty fast for the 2D physics engine. But of course it did. I mean, the A11 is, again, still a very capable processor. Multitask, alright. Looks like it's just about done with it. .3D physics engine, alright. Now this is probably going to take a little bit more time because it's 3D. Oh, actually, never mind. That was pretty fast, too. Secure message, alright. And actually already finished CPU. Not bad. Now it's just testing the UX, or the user experience. And so now it's just scrolling through menus. This is not me. This is it doing it by itself. So just an FYI for you guys. Oh, and oops, I accidentally exited off the test. That's my bad. I'm sure that won't hinder the results. Now it's at 90%. Again, this is it doing it. It's not me. So just giving you guys a heads up there. It's scrolling by itself, and it's meaning to do that as well. Now it's testing the cropping capabilities. All right. Now it's scanning QR codes. It's not bad, actually, in terms of its speed. And it's finishing up the last one. All right, so 94%. Now it's decoding JPEGs. Now it's image processing the blur effect. And it's done. All right, so it looks like we got a score of 197,913. CPU, we got a score of 656.86. Or actually, sorry, 65,686. Then we got a score for the GPU for 55,931. Memory is 44,512, and the UX is, let's see here, 31,784. So let's see how that test compares to other tests. Let's see. So my phone is in 23rd place, whereas it used to be in 28th place, I'm pretty sure. So that's an improvement, I'm pretty sure. The average iPhone 10 is in 16th place, so my iPhone 10, it's sitting just below where an average one would be, which is not bad. It can definitely be a lot better, though, so that's the other thing, too. But that was the end of this video, so if you guys enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like, also comment and subscribe if you are brand new to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.